I'm just gonna take it like this. I'm just gonna, what, Steve? What, Steve? I'm just gonna rub it on there just to show you as an example how to keep them protected in the winter. Let's head outside and talk about some chickens. Got their hot rice and oatmeal with Temps, hot sauce on it. Now it's time to go out there and make sure that their coop is warm, their food is warm, their water is warm, and that they are warm. Today is the first really icy day of the Arctic blast. So we are gonna talk about 3 essentials in taking care of chickens in the winter. All right, let's talk about how to keep your chickens alive during the cold winter season, or in our case, this Arctic blast that we're having here in Oklahoma. It's starting to snow. There's been lots of misting rain. That's why you see all of the ice on everything. I did winterize my chicken coop, and now I need to do some extra stuff because at nighttime it's supposed to be about -12. Right now it's about 17 degrees. Here is the top 3 things you need to have to keep chickens in the winter. Number 1 is a shelter. Ours I call a coop. It is about 4 by 10. It has windows, it has a trap door to let them in and out, and then it's got this big main door for me to go in and out. When you have a shelter, you need to think about other things in the cold weather. Is there any drafts? How is the ventilation? Do you have enough bars or roosts for them to get up on at night, or are some still on the ground during the night? You need to take a flashlight and go check it out, because if they're not on their roosts, they're not covering their feet and keeping warm, and they're not snuggling next to each other. That means you need more roosts. Heavy bedding. Heavy bedding in the winter is the best for our farm. It actually generates heat as it's decomposing, just like a compost pile. So we just keep always adding more hay and more hay and more hay on top. In years past, I've added more leaves and hay and grass clippings, but we don't have that here. So there's many ways that you can do the deep bedding or the deep litter method. The next thing important is food and water. When it's this cold, it's time to put the food and water inside the coop and try to make sure that we keep the water defrosted. See? Solid ice. Some things that you could do in addition to keep them warm with warm water or warm food is in the morning, make them some hot water, boil it, make a chicken stew, throw some white rice in there and cook it completely thoroughly, throw some oatmeal in there and cook them warm oatmeal. I did that today, and then I put some hot sauce in it because I'm trying to generate heat and warmth in their body so they don't use so much energy to shiver or to be cold. Another thing that you could give them is corn. Lots of people believe that corn is harder and slower to digest, which heats up the body of a chicken and keeps them warm in the winter. It'd be a great treat at night to give them some corn and keep them warm throughout the night. And another thing that some people don't really think about is entertainment. If you lock them in a coop for days on end, this Arctic blast right now that's happening is going to be for 2 weeks. If you keep them in there, they're going to kill each other. So you need to give them some things to do, whether it be hang some cabbage from a string, come out and give them treats often, maybe hang some toys, put a mirror. That will be enrichment for their life. Another great addition is high carbs and protein. So these girls are going to be getting some of those super mealworms today, and they're going to love it. Another important thing is their outdoor run. This needs to be winterized as well. We don't have snow here, and if we did, I would take hay and I would sprinkle it all over, and that will give their little feet something to stabilize also try to keep the snow off their feet. I personally am gonna use something, let me show you. Now for some traction on the bottom of the exterior coop. There is barely any ice, just little particles of it, and there is no snow. But I am gonna use that wood ash and I'm gonna sprinkle it all over the entrance to their coop, just in case tonight they need to come out, or just in case later it starts to storm and if we get any snow or any drizzling rain, which we are supposed to get 80% chance. So I'm gonna sprinkle it all in this area right here. Watch me go. And here is the wood ash that we will be sprinkling. All done. Woo! It's like it's snowing. And another thing is keep them out of the wind. I have a very large run here and they have a really nice coop. So I'm not gonna worry too much about putting tarps or metal or wood up on the sides to keep them protected because they have a place to go to. It's very important to have shelter. Let's talk about drafts in the shelter. So obviously there's a huge draft here. This is what I call their trap door. So I am gonna actually put them in here once I get their food and water settled in, these are the interior, and I'm gonna go ahead and close that. Do a really good look over for other ways that draft can get in here because we don't want them to get cold at night. We're trying to protect them and keep them warm. So it's really good once in a while to just come in your coop and identify any area that might have a draft. Now a draft is different than ventilation. Let me show you what I mean. If I had the windows open to let air in and this door, which I have it like that so I can get out, that would be letting in a huge draft, just like their trap door. Now ventilation is to allow the moisture that's from their breath and from their body warmth to escape. If there's too much moisture in here and there's not enough ventilation, they could actually get frostbite on their comb and it could actually freeze their little nostrils and little feet. But there is some place for ventilation. Let me show you. On top of our R panel, we have ventilation holes that I did not seal when we built it. Do you see all the way around? Just a little bit, but enough for the heat and the moisture to rise and be released into the environment. It also helps with any of the ammonia buildup from any of the manure. You want it to be well ventilated so they're not inhaling that. We do the deep litter method, so it never ever smells in here. It doesn't smell like ammonia, like poop. It's just really just a regular outside smell, and actually is a little warm in here. There's no wind, of course, but I am not freezing. This is totally comfortable. We talked about the roosts. So I've had about 9 to 10 chickens. You can tell they poop. I've got to go ahead and clean that up. They roost on these 3 bars. Generally, they all roost on this right side, on each side. I don't know why, but they don't ever roost there. I did just add these 9 battery hens. They are on the ground. However, they don't know how to go on the roost yet. So hopefully in the next few weeks, they'll learn how to be a chicken. I know that's really sad, but they're gonna have a great life. Look at you! You learned! You're the queen! Look, you like the roost? You did such a good job! Is it nice? Now here is my heavy bedding, or you could call it heavy litter method. You can see that it's just, look, starting to degrade down there. See, it's just piles and piles of hay. And then it starts to deteriorate. You see down here? This isn't cold, you guys. This is actually, it's not warm, but it's not cold. See, it's just deteriorating into nothing. So you just keep adding piles and piles and layers in here. Let's talk about food and water. This morning, I made them some rice and oatmeal. It's nice and warm and I put tons of hot sauce on it. Here it is. And I'm just gonna let them have this pot right now while I do everything else. And I'm just gonna put this down and let them eat it. Nice and warm. I can feel the heat coming off of it. They're really gonna enjoy this as their breakfast. Girls! If for some reason your chickens do get frostbite and you can't keep the moisture off of their combs and their nose and their wattles, what you would use is Vaseline. Just take Vaseline with your fingers and just rub it gently on their comb. You could do it by their earlobes and you could do their little wattles underneath. I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to apply Vaseline to the comb and wattles of Steve, because he's my beautiful boy. And you see him? He's got a huge comb and huge wattles and huge earlobes. So what I did, instead of bringing the Vaseline out, I just reversed a Ziploc bag and I scooped it and I put it in my pocket. You can see all his points. Now these points can get frostbitten and turn black. It's not really gonna hurt him. It's not gonna feel good, but he'll be okay. And it's gonna look horrible. It might ooze, it might get bright red, it definitely will turn black. I'm just gonna take this Vaseline, and I'm not left-handed, so let's try this. And I'm just gonna take it like this. I'm just gonna, what, Steve? Steve? I'm just gonna rub it on there just to show you as an example how to keep them protected in the winter. I've done everything in there I can to protect them from the moisture and the cold. So this is just a really good preventative, or just really an example to show you, look, he doesn't mind it. He doesn't mind it at all. Hi, you like that? I think he thinks he's getting a massage. Can I get your waffles? Yeah, it's kind of weird, huh? It feels, oh, you don't like it? Let's just get them protected. Let's just get them protected. Okay, I just gotta do your ears now. Can I do this ear? Just a little bit of ears. Can I get your ear there? Oh, can I nibble on this one? Little ear nibble. You wanna be my Valentine? Huh? I'm giving you a little rub down. You get by your nose real good. By your eyes. Oh, you don't like that. Okay. Just took a couple little dips with my finger and he is done. He'll be protected from the cold. See? It's got Vaseline all over. Okay, Steve, you're good to go. So I take that as a no. He doesn't want to be my Valentine. What a jerk. That's not gonna work. Woo! We are gonna add some fresh hay in there and just make sure that they stay nice and insulated. Back up, girls. Back up. Here's some more hay. That's all you gotta do is add hay to keep them warm. Not so hard. You could also use wood chips. I wouldn't use the really small ones because you don't want them to inhale any of those little particles, but you could use like the big ones. That would work really good too. I just went in the house and I got some warm water. I am gonna give this to the chickens and I'm gonna hope that doesn't freeze, which it will. And then tonight I have something else I'm gonna do. Now what I'm gonna do tonight to prepare for the water not getting defrosted, because it's probably going to be in the negative wind chill factors tonight and it's going to be cold in there. So we've done everything that we can to keep the coop warm, to feed them, to keep the chickens warm. Lights are controversial. It's up to your discretion. Lights cause fires. So I'm not going to give them supplemental heat, but what I am going to do is use my crock pot. I'm gonna fill it up with water and I'm gonna run the extension cord and I'm gonna plug this in so they can have warm water. I'm just gonna put it on the warm or low setting. Now, it also is gonna do a little bit to increase the temperature inside the coop. I am worried about the moisture level, but I do have really good ventilation. People use crock pots in their greenhouses because the moisture is not a problem of humidity with plants. So they use this in small greenhouses to keep them warm in the evenings or whenever it gets really cold out. Did you know that? I thought that was pretty cool. Kind of a dual purpose. You know, we all have 2, 3, 4, 5 crock pots laying around the house. If you don't have one, you can go get one for $10 at Walmart. It might be a smaller version. You probably get the bigger version for about $25, but lots of different uses. Warm water from the house. I'm just gonna put it down right here by their food. And then a little bit of snacks to kind of keep them warm. This is all I have that has corn in it, and there's just a little bit left because this is Tom's treat whenever he's up by the house. So I'm gonna give this to the girls. this in their outdoor pen here. Now it's time for the mealworms. They are gonna love this. This is gonna give them some extra protein, hopefully warm their little bellies. Another thing you should add to your coop when you're doing your food in your water is grits. I always have free-range grits and free-range calcium for mine, so they do have access to it outside. I'm not under snow or ice outside in their exterior coop area, so they do have access to it. Plus, when they peck on the ground, they get dirt. But sometimes, in some of the weather that we get that's tons of snow, they can't get down to the dirt and get that grit that they need. So it'd be a great idea to put some inside their coop.
Girls! Who wants a mealworm? Girls!
Okay, I'm gonna put them right here. That was some helpful hints on how to keep your chickens alive during an Arctic blast or just a really cold winter. So just to review, the 3 most important things are shelter, food and water, and their outdoor run. If you have any suggestions or just want to talk about chicken care in the winter, comment below. I'll be so happy to get back to you. I would love to share information, and I love when people share information with me. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit the little dingle bell. It'll alert you every single time I upload a new video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.